You could easily spend a small fortune trying to eat more protein in America right now. Chicken, steak, powders, bars, all of it. But here's the surprising part. Some of the smartest high-protein foods aren't in the meat aisle at all, and a few of them could actually save you money, support healthier aging, and even connect back to what you can grow at home. If you've been trying to eat more protein lately, you've probably noticed how expensive it's getting. Same foods, same routine, just costing more every week. But here's the thing, it's not that you don't have options, you're just not being shown the right ones. Because once you look outside the usual meat and protein products, you'll find plant foods that can match the protein, cost less, and, honestly, make your meals a lot easier. Some of these are already in your kitchen. Some are sitting at your local grocery store, and one of them people literally throw part of it away every year without realizing it. So instead of overcomplicating things, let's go through 10 plant foods that can quietly upgrade how you eat, and the last couple will probably change how you look at your food completely. Lentils, black beans, and chickpeas. These are probably sitting in your kitchen or at least in every grocery store you walk into. They're so familiar that most people stop seeing them as anything important. They feel basic, cheap, almost like a backup option instead of something you build meals around. But here's the thing that's completely backwards. Lentils are one of the simplest examples of this. People look at them and think, budget food, but what they're actually getting is one of the most efficient combinations you can put on a plate, protein and fiber working together. That combination doesn't just check a nutrition box, it actually changes how you feel after eating. You stay full longer, your energy stays more stable, and you're not constantly reaching for something else an hour later. Honestly, you could spend $60 to $100 a week on protein snacks and still not get that same effect. Or you could cook a pot of lentils and get multiple meals that actually hold you over. Black beans do something very similar, but in a way most people completely overlook. They show up in burrito bowls and tacos, but they're treated like a side, not the main part of the meal. What most people don't realize is they're one of the most reliable foods for steady energy. No spike, no crash, just something that keeps you going. And when you start building meals around that, instead of just adding it on, everything feels different. You're not chasing fullness, it's already there. Then you've got chickpeas, and this is where things open up even more. Most people think hummus and that's it, but chickpeas are one of the most flexible foods you can use. Roast them, and now you've got a snack. Mash them, and you've got a sandwich filling. Throw them into a salad or bowl, and suddenly the meal actually has substance. This is one of those foods that fits into your life without asking you to change anything. You just start using it differently. And this is the first real shift the foods people ignore because they seem too simple are often the ones doing the most work. Not because they're trendy, but because they've always worked. But here's where it gets more interesting. Once you move past these basics, the next group of foods starts to change how you look at your entire grocery routine. These next foods don't just change what you eat. They start changing how you think when you walk into a grocery store. Take oats, for example. Almost everyone eats them, or has at some point. But most people don't think of oats as a protein food. They think of them as just carbs, just breakfast, something quick. Oats are one of the easiest ways to build a high-protein meal without even trying. Because nobody eats oats plain. You add peanut butter, maybe chia seeds, maybe some hemp seeds, maybe yogurt, and suddenly what looked like a simple breakfast turns into something that can actually compete with a full protein meal. And for a fraction of the price of protein bars or drive-through breakfasts, most people are already halfway there, they're just not building it intentionally. And then there's tofu, and this is where a lot of people check out too early. Most people in the US tried tofu once, didn't like it, and never went back. But here's the thing, that version of tofu you remember, that soft, bland, watery texture, that's not really tofu at its best. That's just tofu that wasn't prepared right. Because once you press it, season it, and cook it properly, and this is where it gets interesting, it transforms completely, it crisps up, it holds flavor, it actually feels like something you want to eat. And now you've got a complete protein that can go into bowls, tacos, stir-fry, whatever you're already making. And usually, guys, it's cheaper than most meat options sitting right next to it in the store. And it doesn't stop there. Edamame might be the simplest one on this list. And honestly, that's what makes it so powerful. It's already prepped, already portioned, sitting in the freezer section waiting for you. 5 minutes, a little salt, and you're done. No real cooking, no learning curve. And yet most people skip right past it and grab something more processed, more expensive, and usually less satisfying. What most people don't realize is this is one of the easiest ways to add real, complete protein into your day without changing anything else. You're starting to see better options in the same store, on the same shelves, just in a different way. And from here, it goes one step further. Because the next group isn't just about smarter choices, it's about upgrading how your food actually works for you over time. And this is where things start to level up. Because now we're not just talking about easy swaps, we're talking about foods that quietly do more for you over time. Tempeh is a perfect example of that. A lot of people haven't even tried it, and honestly, that's why it gets overlooked. But here's the thing, tempeh isn't just another version of tofu. It's firmer, it has more texture, and it actually feels more substantial when you eat it. And this is where it gets interesting. It's fermented. Which means you're not just getting protein, you're getting something that fits into the whole gut health conversation everyone's paying attention to right now. Better digestion, better absorption, more balance overall. And instead of buying separate gut health products or supplements, you're just eating something real that already does the job. Pan-sear it, marinate it, throw it into tacos or bowls it fits into normal meals without feeling like a health food. And then there are hemp seeds, and honestly, this might be one of the easiest upgrades on this entire list, because nothing changes. You don't cook them, you don't prep them, you don't even think about them that much. You just add them. Oatmeal, smoothies, yogurt, salads, whatever you're already eating. And suddenly, without any extra effort, your meals have more protein, better fats, more micronutrients. And this is where a lot of people miss the point. They think they need big changes to eat better. But sometimes it's these small, almost invisible changes that actually stick. And instead of buying multiple expensive powders or superfood blends, one simple ingredient can quietly do a lot of that work for you. And this is where things really start to stack. Because now you've got foods that are easy, foods that are smart, and foods that are quietly improving how your body handles everything over time. But here's where it all flips, because the last couple of foods don't just change what you eat. They change how you see food in the first place. And this is where everything comes together, because now it's not just about protein anymore. Take pumpkin seeds. Most people only think about them once a year when they're carving pumpkins. And what happens almost every time? The seeds get scooped out and thrown away, but here's the thing that's actually one of the most valuable parts of the entire plant. These pumpkin seeds are packed with protein, loaded with minerals like zinc and magnesium, and they support things most people are actively trying to fix: sleep, recovery, immune function. And yet people treat them like waste. And this is where it gets interesting if you've ever grown pumpkins, even just once in a backyard or a raised bed. You start to see it differently. One plant gives you food, and then gives you more food. That's not just nutrition, that's leverage. Instead of spending money on supplements for those same nutrients, you're getting them from something you almost threw away. And then there's tomatoes, and this is where the shift really happens. Because nobody thinks of tomatoes as a protein food. Fresh tomatoes? Not impressive in that category, but once you dry them, once you remove the water, everything changes. The flavor gets stronger, the nutrients concentrate, and suddenly something simple turns into something powerful. And this is the part most people miss. It's not always about finding new foods. Sometimes it's about using the same foods differently. And if you've ever grown tomatoes in a backyard, a raised bed, even a container on a patio, you know how much extra you end up with. Instead of wasting that, you can preserve it, store it, and turn it into something that lasts. Now, it's not just food, it's a system. And this is where it all flips. Because now you're not just buying food, you're thinking about how food works, what you keep, what you throw away, what you grow, what you reuse. And once you see it that way, you don't go back. You don't need more products, you don't need another high-protein label, and you definitely don't need to keep spending more money just to feel like you're eating better. Because if you really look at it, most people aren't lacking protein, they're lacking a system that actually works. Here's the thing. Once you start bringing foods like these into your routine lentils, beans, oats, tofu, seeds, everything starts to shift in a way that feels almost effortless. You're not constantly thinking about what to eat next, you're not chasing snacks, and you're not relying on packaged solutions to fill the gaps. Your meals start to feel more complete, your energy becomes more stable, and that's where this goes beyond nutrition, because now it's not just about health, it's about how you live day to day. You could keep spending $50, $100 or more every week on protein bars, shakes, and convenience foods, or you could build meals around simple ingredients that cost less, last longer, and actually do more for your body over time. That's not just a better diet, that's a smarter system. And then there's the part most people don't expect. Some of these foods connect back to something bigger. A backyard, a few containers, a small raised bed, nothing complicated, but enough to change your relationship with food. When you grow even a small part of what you eat, even something simple like tomatoes or herbs, you start to see things differently. You waste less, you value more, and the whole process becomes more intentional. That's where this whole video leads. Not perfection, not restriction, not some extreme diet, just a better way of looking at food. So don't try to change everything overnight. Just pick one. Maybe it's lentils this week, maybe it's adding hemp seeds to your breakfast, maybe it's finally giving tofu another chance and cooking it the right way. Start small, let it stick, and build from there. Because once you make that first shift, everything else gets easier. So now I want to know, which one are you actually going to try first? And which one surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments, I read those. And if you're into this kind of content, simple foods, smarter choices, things you can actually use in real life, and even ideas you can grow yourself, make sure you hit subscribe. That's what this channel is about. Not more noise, just better decisions, one food at a time.